Good evening. Welcome to ABC News Sunday. I'm Juanita Phillips. Also tonight, the Silk Road is back and it's even bigger.
I'm Matthew Carney in China. This country is about to spend big, reviving ancient trade routes with modern efficiency, building high-speed rail all the way to Europe and massive ports across Africa and Asia. We'll show you what's planned a little later in the program.
The United States has declared North Korea a flagrant menace as world leaders condemn its latest missile test. The rogue nation's launch came just days after the inauguration of South Korea's new Liberal president. Experts say the missile showed a considerably longer range than previous tests. US President Donald Trump has called for stronger sanctions against North Korea, and he's made particular note that the missile landed closer to Russia than Japan. Here's ABC correspondent Rachel Mealy.
Today's launch comes just 2 weeks after North Korea's last missile test. That one misfired, but today's appeared more successful. It flew for 30 minutes, reaching an altitude of 2,000 metres and travelling 700 kilometres before landing in the Sea of Japan.
Once again, North Korea has launched a ballistic missile despite strong warnings from the international community. This is unacceptable. We strongly protest.
In a statement, US President Donald Trump pointed out that the impact was closer to Russia than Japan. The president cannot imagine that Russia is pleased, it said. It's a notable shift for the US, which has recently been focused on China's influence over the north. Russia's alliance with Pyongyang has been in the background since six-party talks stalled nearly 10 years ago. Less than a week into the job, this missile launch complicates things for South Korea's new President Moon Jae-in, who's pledged to improve relations with the North.
While South Korea remains open to the possibility of dialogue with North Korea, it is only possible when the North shows a change in attitude.
Australia was unequivocal.
Australia regards this as both a reckless and provocative action that leads to instability both regionally and globally.
But there are signs North Korea's weapons capability is improving. Japan's defence minister says today's missile could have been a new type. She says it travelled further and higher than those tested earlier in the year. A South Korean expert thinks it could have been a medium-range missile, which had the capability of travelling all the way to Hawaii. Rachel Mealy, ABC News, Tokyo.
The North Korean leader says he has a perfect weapons system which he believes is ready to carry a nuclear warhead. The statement follows yesterday's test of a medium-range ballistic missile, which the regime claims could reach the US mainland. Rachel Mealy reports from Tokyo.
These are the latest pictures from North Korea. What the regime says is the launch of a medium to long-range ballistic missile. Leader Kim Jong-un watched the launch, laughing and high-fiving his generals. Pyongyang says this weapon is capable of carrying a large-scale heavy nuclear warhead.
This launch shows some progress within their ballistic missile development, which is why we hold on to our claim that we have entered a new level of threat regarding North Korea.
The North says it fired the missile at the highest possible angle and that it reached an altitude of 2,000 metres after travelling 787 kilometres. At the right angle, they say it could go much further. But South Korea is sceptical.
We need more verification regarding North Korea's claims about the technical characteristics and the credibility of the engine.
The North Korean regime has continued its reckless and provocative conduct, its unlawful conduct.
US President Donald Trump has previously said he'd be honoured to meet Kim Jong-un under the right circumstances. The US ambassador to the United Nations was put on the spot when she was asked what those circumstances might be.
It's not this. Having a missile test is not the way to sit down with the president, because he's absolutely not going to do it.
The United States ambassador to the UN says the US will continue to tighten the screws against the North Korean regime. The UN Security Council will hold an emergency meeting about the latest missile launch tomorrow. Rachel Mealy, ABC News, Tokyo.